Hi. So, I did my self-help project on the book called The Original Chicken Soup for the Soul by Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, and Amy Newmark, and forward by Heidi Krupp. And the reason that I chose this book is because they talked about 6 things in this book, and 4 of those are some components that I really want to work on. And I decided to break it up into a 4-week plan. So one week I'm going to focus on one topic, the other week I'm going to focus on the next topic, and so on. And so the 4 topics that I chose is family, and what I want to do with that is, it talks about in the book about spending time with family and how you treat them and how you talk to them. And that's honestly something I really want to work on, is the amount of time and energy I put in my relationships with my family and the words I say to them. And then week 2 is going to be about negative thinking and the thoughts and how it can really affect your attitude and your personality. And I thought that was a really good idea because sometimes my thoughts get the best of me and they put me in really bad moods, and that affects the people around me, so I'd really like to work on that. And then week 3 is loving yourself, which kind of ties in with negative thinking, because when you negative think about yourself, it really affects you. And with that, I wanted to take it in the direction that the book took, which is like, if you can't love yourself, then you can't expect anyone to love you. So that's my goal for that, is to try to accept who I really am, because that is a big problem for me. And I always try to become someone that I'm not to get the attention from others. And then my 4th week is overcoming obstacles and failures. And that was a good section in the book about how every time something happens that doesn't go the way you want it to, that it's not the end of the world, it's just a temporary setback. And I think that's a big deal for me, because every time I get in a fight with a friend or a guy, or I fail a test, it's literally the end of the world, and I take it out on people around me. So my goal is to just learn to let it go and realize that it's not that big of a deal. Wish me luck. Hi. So my first week was building my relationships with my family to make them a little bit stronger, and I based it off this book because in the book they talked about telling your family I love them as much as you can, and spending time with them, because as teenagers it's very common for us to choose friends over family. You wouldn't usually ask your sister or your mom to go to the mall with you, you'd ask your best friend. I was like, wow, that's really true. And so this week I decided I'm going to be really nice to my family, and not this week, but carry it out. But I'm going to try to start doing little things. I text my mom and my grandma every day when I get to school, and I text them throughout my day how my day's going. I don't argue back with my mom when she asks me to do chores, and I don't roll my eyes or grunt or cause fights. And she totally has seen a difference, and it's only been this past week, and she's like, do you want something? You're being nice. And I'm like, no, I'm just being nice. I'm done fighting with you. And she was and we had this long talk, and she got really emotional and started crying, but it's probably the menopause. But it was just nice seeing how the little things that I've been doing, she can already see a difference, and we haven't been fighting at all, which is really uncommon for us. And the other night I went out to a Suns game with my grandpa, and he was so happy that I went with him. He when I walked in the room, he's like, there's my girl, and he held my hand the whole time, and we watched the game together, and we talked, and it was a really good time, and I knew we had a blast. And my grandma was texting me, she's like, thank you so much, he had the best time, I owe you. And I'm like, you don't owe me, I was hanging out with my grandpa, it was fun. And I'm going up to Sedona with them next weekend, and we're going to spend the weekend up there, and it's going to be a fun getaway with my grandparents too, spending time with them, because they do a lot for me, and I really miss hanging out with them. And I also have been calling my dad every night, and we talk about our day. And the other weekend, I rarely see my dad because our parents are divorced, so I see him every other weekend. And I usually am with friends, a friend comes over, or I go to a friend's house, and I was like, you know what, I'm really going to make those couple days that I'm with my dad. So this past weekend, I just hung out with him the entire time, and we went and saw that new movie, Divergent, and we went around the mall for a little bit, and we just hung out the entire time, and it was really fun. And we went to church the next day. And it's only been a week, but I can already tell, my family is, a little bit, happier. I know it sounds, cheesy, it's only been a week and you're just being nice, and it's yeah, me, texting them and telling them I love them and have a good day and talking to them and going places with them is, that's all I need to do, and, we already are having a stronger relationship. So my plan is to carry that out and keep doing it, because It's working. Here's just some pictures of what's been going on with me and my family. Hi, so this is my week 2 progress report, and it was about negative thinking and toxic thoughts. And my goal was to monitor how many negative thinking I have towards others and myself, and try to replace them with better thinking. And just want to tell you how that went. And so what I did is I got a journal, because there were a couple chapters in this book about journaling and how it helps you get your thoughts onto paper, and you can always look back and be like, that's what happened, or that's how I felt. So I bought a journal, and I've been writing in it, and I write the date, and I wrote Soul Detox because it kind of tied in with an event that we're doing at church. And I ask myself questions every night that I don't provide, but there's an app on my phone that provides it for me, and I answer it. My first question was, how have toxic thoughts affected your life and relationships? And then I just answer it. And then at the bottom I wrote Proverbs 4, 1 through 27, and I did that for each and every one because they just all give me Bible verses at the end of each question to look up, and that can kind of relate to how I'm feeling and what I'm going through. And I was honestly surprised because in this book he mentioned, the various authors mentioned God a lot, and I marked down on this page that they said that negative thoughts are the devil's words and always ask God for help. And so I was like, okay, I could play off that and, in other words, pray about it, because I do when I go to school, I think everybody does, you see someone and you automatically judge them, or you see someone whispering and you start judging yourself because you think something's wrong with you. And I've been really trying not to do that. And I wrote down that one of the things I did this week is I saw one of this girl that I know she doesn't like me, and I saw her whispering, and I swore she looked at me, and then I started thinking really bad things about her and about myself, and I needed to stop, and I did. But it's not easy. It just is kind of one of those things that you just got to brush it off. And that's what this book has been saying, is to not let it get to you. Just brush it off. And if you're really having trouble, just pray about it and journal. And that's what I've been doing. And it's honestly been helping, because normally I would just cry and throw a fit and be upset for the rest of the day. But now I just journal. And I have an alarm at 8:30 every night. And it goes off and it tells me to read my little question and journal. So I'm going to continue to do that. I'm on a 35-day plan right now. But so far in this last week, I've seen a big difference in just my thought process of always being so judgmental and negative. And so I hope that this next week about negative thinking towards just myself, I can use what's going on this past week to enhance next week's lesson. So, yeah. Hi. So this is my week 3 progress report, and this week I was trying to focus on the topic of loving yourself. And this was honestly the hardest one so far, and I think it's going to take a lot more than just a week or a month project to help anybody do this, unless you're just really good at loving who you are. But I really struggled with that, and it was a huge part of this book. And I was going to show you guys some of the chapters that they talked about. There was this chapter called There Is Nothing Wrong With You, and this was a big one. It was a bunch of different stories about a blind guy who was talking about, he's what's wrong with me? I can't see me, so just tell me honestly, what's wrong with my physical appearance? And everyone was nothing, you're fine. And it was just a cute story. And it was about a fat, shy person who was what's wrong with me? And it was just I feel everybody always, the first thing they jump to is what's wrong with me? Why doesn't this person like me? Why can't I look like her or him? Or why can't I have a better body or clear skin or something? And I do that all the time, on the daily, still do after this week. I'll be honest, it is the hardest thing for me. And in my notes, my goals were to stop being so hard on myself, and to stop comparing myself to others, and stop making a perfect Cami to live by. And it's hard. There have been moments where I have, let things go, or just accepted that I don't have long hair or this type of body or whatever. But it's hard. I know I keep saying that, but it's really, really hard. And, there was a thing in here that's called Starting With Yourself, and it's about, how people are saying, well, only if I could change myself, then, my life would be perfect. And it's like attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. And like last progress report when I talked about like trying not to think negatively, it's kind of easy when you're not thinking negatively about other people. But when you think about yourself, it's a whole different story, and it's pretty difficult. And this list I told you guys about was like the perfect Cami list. They had like something like this in the book where it's literally like just a gigantic list of like what someone said, like, oh, if it's called for me to be the best I can be, I'm waiting for this to happen to me, and it's like a list. It's like, for example, one of them was for the right person to come into my life, for the right kind of body, for a better circle of friends, for more money. And it's 101 list of just things after things about they wish they could change about themselves. And it's just saying, get rid of that list. It's unrealistic, and there's so many people around you that are having the exact same problems, and there's so many people that just don't love themselves either. And we just got to get over this perfect image that we all have in our head, because it doesn't exist. And this week I've been trying to tell myself that like people love me for who I am. Like, just nothing I can do is going to change anything. So there's no point in trying to become someone I'm not, because I am who I am. And my goal is to keep telling myself that, because it's definitely going to take a lot longer than this project, but it is something I need to work on, and I'm sure a lot of you guys need that too. And just know that you should love yourself. It's hard. Hi, so it's my week 4 progress report. And this past week I've been working on overcoming obstacles, or as this book referred to them as, is just a temporary setback. And I thought this was a good way to end this project, because it kind of tied in the last 3 things that I talked about, which was building relationships with family, negative thinking towards others, and then negative thinking towards myself, because those are all obstacles in life. I feel like life is one big obstacle, and we just have to overcome it and take it day by day. And that's what I learned this week, is to take life day by day, because I always overthink the future and problems that I'm going to run into, and there's nothing I can do about them now. And that I've honestly been so much less stressful this week, because I've just been focusing on that day, like that day's problems, because tomorrow will come and I'll have to deal with those problems eventually. So why cram all my stress into one day? And a quote that I wanted to read to you guys was, the basic difference between an ordinary man and a warrior is that a warrior takes everything as a challenge, while an ordinary man takes everything as either a blessing or a curse. And the way that I took that is that everybody can do something. If you look at obstacles as a curse, you're going to be stuck in the past. You're going to be stuck focusing on that one problem in your life, instead of focusing as a blessing to learn from it and grow from it. And that's a huge thing. Just grow from your mistakes, because everyone's going to make them. Everyone's going to face obstacles in life, and you just have to get by them. You don't really have another option. And 3 things that they talked about in this book to help me, and like hopefully I'll tell you guys to help you. When you face an obstacle, just know that like it's just a temporary setback, and use the power of determination to keep you going. And there is greatness all around you. Use it. In other words, don't focus on this little obstacle. Focus on this great life that you have and embrace it. It'll make you a happier person and will stop you from stressing about your problems. And then the last one is faith, and that's pretty self-explanatory, and that's just have faith that your God or whoever you believe in is there to take care of you and take the problems from your life and turn them into a blessing that you can learn from and grow from. And this week has been honestly pretty easy for me, because I like the way that the book took it, as to just let it go. And that's what I've been doing this week with a lot of obstacles that I've come into. And you guys should really try the same, because it helps out a lot. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, I didn't really give you any examples of obstacles that I went through this week. And people's obstacles can be really personal or impersonal. So just a quick impersonal one is like, as you all know, we're seniors, and a lot of my grades haven't been doing too well because I haven't been doing my projects, and so that's a huge problem. So this past weekend I cleared out my entire schedule, and I stayed home and typed all of my essays and did all my projects and got all caught up. So I just took that obstacle by the neck and did it. And I just wanted to show you guys one example so you guys have some sort of idea. So yeah. Hi. I just want to say that I am so sorry that you guys all had to watch this video. It probably was super boring and super awkward, and I'm really sorry. But I also hope that some of the information that I learned in this book helped you guys out. I know that you guys might want to try, like I did, like spending some time with family, because it's nice. And I think since we're all teenagers, we're all in the same boat, and we all are really judgmental, and we all think really poorly of others and ourselves. And we all face obstacles every day, especially now that it's senior year. We're facing college and jobs and the end of the semester with grades that we didn't realize were so bad. And I hope some of these tips helped you guys out like they helped me out, because I learned a lot from this lesson, as embarrassing as it is. It really helped out, and I hoped it helped you guys too. And yeah, that was my self-help video. I'm sorry.